Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Won't you spare me over another?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paranormal TV episode 2, or 2, whatever you want to say. You are joined
Episode
here today. You are dorned. I can't talk right. Yeah, we're just going to have to cut that. We are joined. You got the leader, Josh, here of the team.
I'm the co-lead that is higher over everybody right now.
And then we have
the guest, Matt, which is not I may be a guest, but my other job title is tech.
Yep, we have our tech and guest for this special episode here is episode 2. I'm also recording at the same time a behind-the-scenes view of you for you guys, so you can see kind of what goes on.
I don't know which camera to look at.
I don't know which camera to look at.
I'm just looking at this.
But yeah, today we're going to talk about. It's going to be kind of a little bit shorter episode today than we did the first episode. Thank you guys so very much. We have like over 30 or 40 views on the first episode, and we thank you guys so much for liking and all that. Feel free to share those videos, by the way, as they come out, and go check out the videos and stuff over on our YouTube. But today we have 2 small, brief, short stories that we're going to share because we're going to try and make it where whoever has encountered it with us is a part of this episode. So being he actually was there and seen what we were encountering, he's the guest for today, so this is what we're going to talk about. There's 2 different stories. I kind of want to start more or less off with the story that you encountered. There's another member that also encountered this as well.
But
Alan.
he is not here at the moment. So.
Unfortunately, he's not here, which we will talk with him again at a later time and see what his side of the story is, which they kind of both witnessed the same thing at the same time. But with that being said, why don't you take it away? Tell us your story or what you encountered.
Okay, so this was kind of funny, is because it happened right after we did our first
Apologies.
like after we did our first hunt. Like I literally was with them in the cemetery when that happened, and it was funny because as me and Alan were driving home and we were on this road, my headlights picked up this figure on the side of the road there, like in the grass, and it looked like some kind of black figure, and it wasn't standing straight up like, you know, like a human being would. It looked like it was on all fours pretending to be a hog, and it looked like it was just standing there completely still, like trying to be as still as possible to not be seen. But me and Alan still saw this thing, and let's just say that it kind of freaked me out, but it didn't freak Alan out, so to speak. So, in other words, it was like, hey, is this... I literally said to him, I was like, hey, is there a spirit following us? And I literally messaged him as soon as I saw this thing, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a spirit following us, but I wasn't sure of it, because the minute I got home, I didn't see anything else afterwards. We just saw this strange figure that was pretending to be a hog on the side of the road.
Yeah, there's many a times, for those of you guys out there that may not know, many of times going out and doing hunts and stuff, like we kind of sort of mentioned in our first episode, if I'm not mistaken, when you go out and start doing these things, if you don't normally do these things, it gets to the point to where these things will follow you home. When you go out and start looking for them and actually try and communicate and stuff, they'll actually start following you, wanting to communicate more, because more or less a lot of the times when you go out and do things and you talk to them and stuff, if you're not really getting that much and then you decide to leave, the spirits are basically kind of like, hey, hold up, I wasn't done talking to you, and then they follow you home.
Or they're just so intrigued by you, they're like, ooh,
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, see, I can imagine it would get lonely being spirits and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting out in the cemetery and somebody like us comes through and we can actually see them and hear them, they like it and enjoy it. So they're like,
we're friends.
pretty much.
You just became that spirit's best friend the second you walked in there.
pretty much. But see, that's the cool part about it. But you got to watch out, because sometimes doing these things also could contribute to bad things following you home and bad things happening and that's where you have to kind of draw the line and know what's what and how to approach different situations. Because like I've mentioned, I think I mentioned in the first video, where we have something that is in our home that has caused us all kinds of stuff. And if you watch Ghost Adventures and stuff like that, they have stuff that follows them all the time. Many a times follows them home, causes them pain and all this stuff, and it gets hectic. But we'll cover more of that story. It's kind of like a part 1 for that story, and then we'll do a part 2 for that story later when Alan joins us and hear his side of the story. Hopefully we can get Matt here again too. But jumping over now to the next story that we wanted to share with you guys. I don't remember the exact date that it was, but we uploaded a video on our YouTube where we were eyeballing what looked or appeared to be something in the sky. We thought it was, this kind of ties into the beyond part, I guess you could say. Aliens, more or less, yeah. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's up on our YouTube. I believe that's the only place we've uploaded it to, so you guys can only see it there, so go check it out there. But it's possible alien sighting is, I think, what I called it.
Or you also live streamed it on the group.
Yeah. So
the group page too.
Definitely go give that a watch. My mom, when we was me and Callie were actually here in the room playing a game, and my mom comes in and says, "There's something outside in the sky that looks like it could be a UFO." So we run outside with our cameras and stuff, and we're looking, and of course everything looks like stars at first, so we're not finding where this is. And she points it out, and then we notice that it's really bright, and it starts moving. And when it moves very, very slowly, like a couple of inches every now and again, and it's going away from our home. And then it starts close to the house, and then it goes away from our home, and then later you can see that it's further out, and then it comes back towards our home. And we were thinking to ourselves, first off, helicopters, planes, and stuff like that can't just hover.
And they don't have lights like that. Planes have blinking lights, sometimes different colors.
We saw planes and stuff while
yeah,
it was out there.
Some
we
of
saw
them almost
planes
ran into it.
Yeah, we saw planes and stuff, which we don't know if that's what they were doing, trying to figure out what it was or whatever. But there was planes and stuff that was constantly flying backwards and forwards, and we could tell it was a plane, and we could tell it was stars and stuff. But like I said, planes and helicopters and all that kind of stuff doesn't hover. So it was strange to us because we saw it and we didn't know what to think of it. And like I said, it would move ever so slowly. We live streamed it, and Matt was watching it as well.
Yeah.
And it was just weird.
Yeah. And it was literally like you were filming it literally right out this window right here.
Yeah,
because it was literally moving so slowly, like it looked like it wasn't moving at all. Like, but if you stared at it long enough, you could see that it was moving. It's just it was moving so slowly, you couldn't figure it out if it was moving or not.
Pretty much. And like I said, that video is up on our YouTube, so you guys can go over and watch it for yourselves. But and we came in from outside since it was kind of cold, and we started recording it. We live streamed it on our page and stuff, and we watched it constantly for a good 30-40 minutes or whatever, I believe.
Almost an hour.
Yeah, it was literally a good 30 minutes.
Yeah, and it would constantly just move every now and again, and it was hovering almost like it was trying to study a specific area or location. From where we are, it was almost like it was over, if you live in the local area, it was almost like it was over towards the Dorman Center or whatever, kind of.
It was like southeast.
Southeast?
Because I got my compass thingy out, and I was like, okay, that's southeast. And I went on Google Earth, and I was trying to estimate how far it looked and stuff, and I showed you it was basically just a big open field.
Pretty much.
Yeah, the other thing I remember saying in the live stream is not to take your eyes off of it, because you never know when it could just go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we were waiting for.
Yeah, which actually brings us to the next part. We watched it for a good amount of time, and then it got to the point, because the tree line behind our house, it got behind the tree line where we couldn't really see it so well.
Yeah, we were
so
trying to move the camera.
We moved the camera backwards and forwards, and we couldn't keep track of it because of it moving so much. And so we decided to just give up, and so we stopped the stream, stopped the video and stuff. And we kind of just chilled out in the room, kept the window open so we could briefly check in and out on it. And eventually we went to the window. She went to the window and she couldn't see it
No,
at all.
it was gone.
It was completely gone. We had missed it actually leaving or taking off or whatever. And then not about 5 minutes or so later, not even 5 minutes later, my mom messages me and says, there's another one. We didn't get it recorded, but we rushed back outside to see it again. And this time, it wasn't over this direction. It was completely over to this side of our house.
I believe it was southwest. Because it was like southeast, south, southwest.
And so, since we didn't watch it, I wasn't sure if it took and it was the same one, or if it moved or whatever. Because like it looked sort of the same, maybe just a little bit smaller or dimmer, but it was doing the same thing. It was moving backwards and forwards, really slow.
And there's an airport back there.
Yeah, and we live right over here next to the downtown airport. So, I mean,
like you would hear the planes taking off. So
you could
it's
hear
literally
it, yeah.
right
Yeah,
there.
and that's when it was almost like a jet, I think, that it was coming from, I think, over here. And it's like literally right here, the plane went whoop, and then it whoop. And I was like, it's gonna hit it, it's gonna hit it.
There were so many planes and stuff flying by it and close to it, and I was thinking...
It was flying by it a lot over there,
Yeah.
rarely over here.
I was thinking that it was NASA or somebody, whoever keeps up with that stuff. But it was just so weird. And my mom was like, well, wherever there's the small ones, there's always the mothership or whatever. But we never was able to actually put a finger on whether it was an actual UFO or if it was something completely different. But at the same time, being here next to the airport, that was the first thing that came out of our mouths, and the first thing that we tried to do was debunk and think, well, it's maybe an airplane or a helicopter or something like that. But even if it was a helicopter, yeah, they do hover. But helicopters, they still kind of swivel to the side or whatever, so it would have had a little bit more movement to it.
And not only that, I mean, if it had a spotlight on it, it wouldn't have been as bright as it was. I mean,
And
it can only get so bright.
If
and
they
you would
were
be able to see the beam unless it was pointing directly at you.
if they were hovering and looking for somebody, if it was a helicopter, which 9 times out of 10 would have been the case if they were hovering, they would have had the spotlight on. And I'm pretty sure, because their spotlights are really, really freaking bright. So,
and plus, they can come down at a good angle too, and plus, you'd be able to see where the spotlight was aiming at.
Exactly.
If you were aiming it somewhere.
And being a helicopter and being up that high,
You wouldn't be able to see it.
Exactly. They really wouldn't have been able to see anything on the ground, so they would have had to be a lot lower and a lot closer to the ground to kind of use the spotlight to see, but they weren't. They were way up, probably about where the stars and stuff is, but clear enough to see where we could see it from where we were standing in the backyard, which was so weird. We had no clue what it was or anything, but there was 2 of them that we supposedly encountered that there again we didn't know what it was, and still to this day we believe that it's a possible UFO sighting. And there was a report that my mom reminded me of that was, I think, last year or so, that one was caught over Dorman High School. But I really didn't know or read or anything of that, which I will. But it's so interesting to know that it's a possibility that we saw or witnessed an alien encounter almost. Which kind of brings me to the question that I wanted to ask these two. We'll start with you. What are your thoughts on aliens? Like, what are the way you view them? What do you think about them? And all that kind of stuff.
I have almost 2 views, and one of them I know is basically yours. The first one is that I think aliens are just us, but evolved, and they're from the future, I guess. And that's why they're here, because they're time travelers, basically. Because there's been reports on time travelers and proof of time travelers. But my second thought is just also there's other planets out there, and that prove in fact, but this is the only planet that supposedly has life on it, but I think all planets have life on it, kind of like us. They're just different.
Yeah, basically my thoughts on the alien stuff is I think that it's us from the future. I think that there are evolved versions of us from the future that travels back to kind of check in on how humanity and all is doing. Mine's kind of pretty basic or whatever. What are your thoughts? What do you think about aliens?
Well, I have a different approach on that. Like, there might be a possibility that there might be a advanced human race, like, you know, say like future human race. But then there's also the fact you got to take into the consideration that there's also different alien beings. They don't look like us. They could look 3 times different. They could be way taller than us, or they could be small. They could be big, fat, skinny, whatever. I mean, and they can literally be anything. Like, and we don't know that. Like, they could literally be in the universe next door to us, or they could be a universe 3 million miles away from here.
Yeah,
and not only that, I mean, they probably have technology that literally makes ours look like Legos.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, they literally could have spaceships that could travel like billions of miles per hour, like speeds that we can't speeds that we can't even can't even process in our heads.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, by the time we get done out of that speed, we could probably be like an 80-year-old man by that time, and they probably won't even be affected by it because they're so used to using that technology.
Who's to even say that aliens are actually wanting to cause us harm? Who's to say that they're not trying to just learn if they aren't any relation to us or anything? Who's to say that they're not actually just trying to learn about us and how to maybe approach us and offer us some kind of help or something like that?
And that's another thing I want to touch on is like there's also the fact that you know, there's good human beings and there's bad human beings, because there's also the possibility that there's also good aliens and there's bad aliens.
True,
like,
true.
There could be some aliens that just don't really care and they just want to just destroy everything. But then there's also that other half that just, like what he said, they just want to study and maybe offer help to other alien beings. But sometimes they don't always process it right, so that's why they don't always approach them directly. They try to find a way to approach them.
Yeah, and who knows, the ones that are observing us could be the good ones, and they're observing, not really observing, but protecting us.
Could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Could be.
But yeah, not only that, I mean, like, there could be ones like from Starship Troopers, for all we know. There could be an alien race of bugs that we don't know about, and we don't never want to find those out.
Yeah, who knows? There's many things out there in the beyond, as we like to say, that are not known and still being discovered and exploring and stuff like that. And of course, all of our humanity and stuff looks upon these things as instantly bad because it's something that we don't understand and can't grasp. And that's another reason why people tend to be like, well, the paranormal isn't real, or the paranormal's bad, or things like that. It all depends on the way you go about it. It's being a paranormal hunter or being a paranormal team, anything like that, going out looking in cemeteries, abandoned houses, and all this kind of stuff. It's not about what you're doing or whatever. It's about how you're doing it. Because there is a bad version of going out and hunting. You can go out and like summon demons and stuff, and doing it on purpose at that matter. And then you got the way that we do it. We take precaution with every step that we do, and everywhere we go, we take 100% precaution. We open up our sessions with prayer. We close our sessions certain ways. We do certain things. We scout out the areas that we go to. There's all kinds of things that goes into it, and different ways and forms of things. But so many people views aliens, Bigfoot, all this kind of stuff, views it as a negative instead of a positive, and instantly wants to detain or kill or put in traps and stuff like this. Like Area 51, for example. Who knows what they have? In all honesty, I don't really care. It's interesting to me, but at the same time, it's like, who really cares?
Yeah.
But it's to the point to where it's like certain people that sees this stuff doesn't view it as a positive, view it as a negative, which makes it so much harder. If we was to ever come in contact with aliens and stuff, the world would be quick to assassinate or kill or try and defend or protect, versus sitting down and actually trying to communicate and talk to them and learn why they're here, what they're wanting. That's not what, I mean, us three, I'm sure, and our team and stuff, we would be down to just sit down and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But others, like Area 51 and stuff, wants to run lab results and all this kind of stuff just to figure out what it is, where it comes from, all this stuff. And I understand you need the knowledge of them to kind of figure out whether they're safe or not. But everybody instantly believes that they're bad. And I don't think that. I personally think that aliens, like you were saying, kind of has like a good and a bad, kind of like humans. We all have good ones and bad ones. It's just like you could come across, for example, Sasquatch or Bigfoot. If you was to come across him and you're in his domain, It's almost like a dog. They're territorial. If you walk up to it, it's obviously going to defend where it's at because it's its territory. So you're going to get defensive and try and shoot it, and it's not really doing any harm. You're the one trespassing in its domain, and now it's trying to defend.
And not only that, there's also the fact with bears, like say if it has like baby cubs with it, of course it's going to try to defend its cubs.
Even if any of its family.
People always tend to go about those things the wrong way and view them negative more than positive. But here in the team, we try and view things as a positive. In all honesty, we try and keep our views in the middle. We say, oh, it could be bad, could be good, who knows, let's figure it out. That's usually the way that we go about it.
It's like the case with spirits. I mean, there's some people that that have died in a peaceful way, and then there's some that didn't go in a good way. And then there's the fact that there are some people that go into a hunt and they try to antagonize said spirits, and that is not a good idea because antagonizing a spirit, I mean, it's not like antagonizing a person. You can fight back against said person. A spirit, you can't physically see or hear them.
You get them mad at them, and you're just like...
they can still mess with you. Trust me.
A spirit, that's the lesson from this video, is a spirit can actually make you hurt yourself. They can't hurt you themselves.
Do not underestimate them.
But what they can do is they can basically mess with your mind and stuff and make you wind up hurting yourself. Possession's a complete different thing, though. So I mean, possession is one of the ways. Basically, it's making you harm yourself or others, more or less the fact. But there's so much that is out there that's still undiscovered. There's so many other locations and places that's non-explored, planets that's not explored, things that's not discovered. But we're getting there. And hopefully, eventually, the world will come to a point where it accepts things and respects. It's like we talked about in the first episode. Respect spirits. Though there's good ones and bad ones, you still have to respect them. When you go into their territory, you can't just be like, screw you, spirit, and all this kind of... You can't do that. You can't walk in there and disrespect. Because even though they're dead, they still... I mean...
They still have unfinished business to do in the living world.
Exactly. So they're still there, and you still have to respect them. But with that being said, we're going to come to a close with the video here with one final question. I know you haven't really been out to a lot of locations and stuff with us quite yet, but the first hunt that we actually went out and done, how did that affect your views and stuff on the paranormal? What do you see now differently than you used to?
Trust me, I know for a fact that the paranormal is real, and the fact that they can still, get to you in some ways. Because I remember one time when we were standing in that cemetery over there by the final dinner, and the second Matt, no, not me, another Matt. There's two Matt
Matts.
number 2. Yeah.
Matt 2.
The second he said something, I literally felt something touch my elbow. Like, the second he said that, and I was not kidding you.
I think he said spirit master, something.
Yeah,
I think he spoke in Latin.
Yeah, he said something in Latin, and then the second he said that, I literally felt something come up and just touch my shoulder, touch my elbow, and I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, and that story that he's talking about we'll actually get into a lot more in another video coming in the future. With that being said, like I said, we're going to close this out. The 29th of February is our third episode for Paranormal TV, so you guys definitely make sure and tune in for that. Look for all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff coming very soon to our channel and stuff that you guys can see, some behind-the-scenes works and stuff, more series and stuff, and we're going to get to the point to where we will also go out and show you guys videos of where we explore. So you guys can not only see, not only hear what we do, but also witness it for yourselves in the videos and stuff that we're going to provide you guys in the near future. So just bear with us. We're getting our website and stuff put up. There again, if you haven't went and followed us already, go check us out on Instagram and YouTube, and like our Facebook page if you haven't already. But with that being said, guys, I think that is about a wrap. Like I said, the 29th, tune in for the next. If you haven't watched the first one, go check it out. It's on our page, and you can also check it out over on our YouTube. That one is one we talk about the Lady in White.
Yeah.
Which is more connected to this one right here than anything.
Yeah. I told you there's plenty more. There's plenty more paranormal content to.
Oh yeah, plenty more.
We're not
paranormal.
done with hunts, so we got a lot.
And we're still going. By the way, Paranormal TV is going to come in sets. we're going to do kind of like an actual TV show would. So it's going to be season 1, season 2, and so on. Therefore, it allows us a chance to go out and explore more and do more things so we can get more content for you guys to actually provide. So for season 1, this will be considered season 1, I suppose you can say. So for season 1, it's going to probably be limited to about 10 videos, and then we'll try and do something more for season 2, and we'll tease some stuff as we're getting there. That's way into the future. We got a couple more episodes to go. We're only about to be on our 3rd episode. With that being said, I'm the leader, Josh. If you guys have any questions or anything, make sure and hit me up on Facebook. Same for Callie here, or even Matt, if you guys have any questions. Or there again, remember March 13th, we have an open hunt. If any of you guys in public are wanting to come out and join us, and we will invite you to come and join us on one of our hunts, and you can maybe become a part of the team, or even just witness the paranormal yourself and hear more stories and stuff.
If you like spooks, come to the open hunt.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, that is March 10th. That is our next open hunt. And there again, if you have any questions or anything, definitely make sure and message either one of us, Crystal, or any of our team members, and we'll be glad to get back to you guys and answer your questions or anything. And definitely, if you guys have any locations or anything that you could share, or any experiences and stuff that you can share with us as well, definitely share those with us too. We'd love to hear from you guys. The feedback from you guys makes it so much fun to do our jobs and stuff as paranormal hunters. So with that being said, we're going to say goodbye now. Been rambling on too much. So thank you guys for watching. There again, go check out the first video, and we will see you guys in episode 3. So see you guys later. Bye.